We need lower. They wouldn't allow that to happen. So they climbed us into the clouds. We start icing up. I said, we need lower. No, we can't. We can't do lower. I said, we are leaving 8 for 6 right now. Okay. Got to 6. It wasn't better. I need lower. I definitely can't get you 5 or 4. We're declaring an emergency.
Ready. Welcome to Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk, an aviation podcast by 2 air traffic controllers and rated pilots who love to talk about flying, controlling, and everything in between. The show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for your instructor, your supervisor, the FAA, the NTSB, or your cat. The show will give you a better understanding of how things work in the National Airspace System and maybe even make you laugh along the way. Please welcome retired Army pilot Alpha Golf and first officer at Penguin Airlines, Romeo Hotel.
It's Tuesday, December 30th, 2025, episode 418. On today's show, we'll discuss winter flying, Class Bravo airspace proposals, and finish our 8th year of Opposing Bases. What's up, AJ?
Hello, everyone.
Happy Tuesday.
Yay, Tuesday.
I think we did 54 episodes this year because we're recording it. This is 418. 416 was released today to the public.
Yes.
That explains the 52 times 8. I have tried racking my brain on figuring out how we got 2 extra episodes in. Because we're here. We're doing it, right? We did extra. We did extra to get into the Supercast thing. I think that's how it's explained.
Okay. I'll believe you.
You'll believe me?
Yep. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
There's NFL players that do that. Apparently they have to say things.
Yeah.
And they just sit there and say the same thing over and over again. Kind of like, yeah, it's just their way of checking the box.
Yeah.
You're more than a checkbox.
Lynch that was made famous for saying that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he does Subway commercials too, and they're funny.
Right.
You're more than a checkbox. We need you to say other things, please.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How you been?
Great. Almost to the next 1,000 miles on the Land Cruiser. Every mile matters at this point.
In less than 2 weeks, I think. That's a lot.
Yeah, we drove it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's great. It's good. It runs, drives.
Mm-hmm.
The heat works, which is good.
Uh-huh.
The air conditioner works.
Right.
Water doesn't come inside.
Did that happen on your truck?
No.
Okay.
I'm just listing the benefits.
So you could drive in the rain. Good.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty high up on your list. Okay.
Yeah, it's a solid plus.
Did we talk about you letting me drive the 4Runner last week? The 1985 4Runner that's a manual shift?
I think you did.
I just want to reiterate how amazing I am. That I didn't crash this vehicle.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to drive. This is not a beginner car.
No.
And it's been a while since I drove a manual. And I'm so proud of myself. I really am.
I mean, if it was an automatic, it would be a process to drive.
Why? I'd have one of those,
it just wanders around on the road. And
yeah, but... Right. You'd have both hands to put on the steering wheel. Instead, you get one hand to steer. And it's active steering. You must move it. You can't just hold it.
Right.
And then the other hand is for shifting.
Yeah.
It's very challenging. Thank you for letting me drive it. It was fun. We did a little car swap for all the things, holiday and family. So
yeah, it worked out very well. Thank you for
No, thank you.
Doing that.
When I got up the next day to take it to work, it didn't start the first attempt.
Yeah. It does that. Just it's every once in a while. It's been really good for me lately, where you even think about putting the key in and turning it, and it just goes.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it does that. You got to just hang on, just keep going.
Okay.
Put a little pedal in,
which is
and
what I
open
did.
and open the butterfly up.
I did that. It worked.
Yeah,
I was also proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about? I put a little note in here. This is our last episode of 2025. It marks episode 416 went out today to the public. It's 52 weeks at 8 per year. So let's congratulate ourselves.
Yay!
Yay. And first and foremost, thank you to our supporters. They're the reason we keep doing this show, and they make this incredibly rewarding and fulfilling for both of us. So again, thank you a million times over.
Yes.
Anything to say about that?
About doing this for 8 years?
Sure.
We need probably help. We need help. So the people that have been here the whole time, they need help. It's just no, I just never would have guessed that we would be here. 8 years ago, if you said, hey, in 8 years, you're still going to be doing this, you'll have done 416 episodes, 17. What?
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
All right. There are a lot of newbies in the chat today. Welcome. And thank you for joining us on the Iceberg to be a supporter of the show. All right, let's start.
All right.
Since OB417, we have some new members in the Penguin Club. Echo November, Lima Sierra, Charlie Whiskey, Charlie Oscar, Charlie Whiskey, Sierra Romeo, Sierra Golf, Romeo Bravo, Mike Whiskey, and Papa Tango. And we got PayPal drops from Delta Foxtrot, Mike Whiskey, and Golf Mike. Welcome to Supercast, and thank you for supporting the show. If you are wondering about what's next, join Supercast, and you can find out at opposingbases.supercast.com. You'll get on-time shows with no delays, our entire back catalog, access to our live streams, so you can see our beautiful faces, bonus audio content, and a direct line to us through our supporter-only email. The show is ad-free and community-supported, and we'd like to keep it that way forever. So consider joining. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Review and announcements.
Review and announcements. This show has it all. That is the title of this week's 5-star review. Mm-hmm. If you want your review read on the show, it must be 5 stars. So leave us a review, and it might make the show.
That was a perfect shout out for reviews. We have a couple more in there, but we're running a little bit low again. It's in your podcast player on your fruit player. You can hit review, and you can type, and you can leave 5 stars. That's what we like, please.
Yes. And you'll make the show. This review is from Delta Mike Bravo. Information, humor, straight up common sense answers to real questions. This show has got it. I've never listened to a podcast that is so niche, yet has such a broad listener base contributing to the production. Pilots, controllers, av geeks, firefighters, CSIs, mechanics, elves, penguins, haters, full spectrum. Keep up the awesome work, everyone. I don't know how people in their mid to late 30s make it through pilot training. I tried and failed after trying to balance family life, work, and training. Every success story I hear on OB reminds me that it is possible. You guys keep my eyes on the sky. Hopefully see you all up there one day, metaphorically, of course. Much love, Delta Mike Bravo. Cool. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Announcements from Supercaster Romeo Bravo Bravo sent a note in what must certainly be described as a Christmas miracle. On December 24th, Romeo Bravo Bravo's son was the one who soloed in 2 aircraft on his 16th birthday. We read that announcement last week, and they promised this announcement for this week. On December 24th, just 10 days after watching my son, Sierra Charlie Bravo, complete his first solo in 2 different airplanes, I successfully passed my type ride for what we affectionately call the Guppy at red, white, and blue Airlines. Congratulations.
Cool. Very good.
Man, right before Christmas, too. That is a great present.
That's cool.
Being done with Sims.
Yeah.
Now off to the Windy City to sit reserved for God knows how long. And in a fun twist, I'll probably spend most of my commute on Penguin Airlines regionals. Blue skies and tailwinds, Romeo, Bravo, Bravo. There was one more post-check ride sim for system differences and some extra good-to-know things. But generally speaking, you're done. Congratulations. I know how good that feels. I started my training in the sim after Christmas, so I didn't have to worry about it during the get ready for Christmas part. So I'm sure you're very relieved.
Yes.
And welcome to the red, white, and blue airlines. I don't think we've called it that before, but welcome.
Cool. Very good.
All right, Juliet Delta passed their CFI check ride. Congrats. And number 3 from Penguin at Charlie Hotel. Good afternoon, AG and RH. I wrote a 5-star review a couple of weeks ago letting you know that I had an instrument check ride coming up on December 17th. There's a picture if you want to throw it up on the screen, AG. I passed that check ride, so I'm now instrument rated partially thanks to your show. I'm instrument rated partially thanks to your show. That's the tone I should have read that in. I am attaching...
partially instrument rated.
Yes.
Right.
I'm attaching a picture showing me sporting your gear after I passed. Now it's on to the commercial check ride prep. Thank you again for all you do. Charlie Hotel. Well, cool. Thanks for sharing the picture. It looks like a Cherokee of sorts with wheel pants that haven't been knocked off. Good for you for keeping those on there.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Those tend to not make it long in the lifespan of an airplane, but cool. Congratulations. And you are rocking, it looks like a polo. We haven't sold that polo in a long time. I think that's
the pullover. That's the quarter zip.
It is? I thought it was like a long sleeve shirt underneath a polo, but no, you're okay. I think you're right.
I am.
All right, moving on. I'm playing music.
Okay.
Timely feedback. You get number 1. I'm exhausted and you just keep making fun of me. It's
number 1. From Supercaster Alpha Mike. Greetings to all my fellow visitors to the realm of penguins and icebergs, helmet fires, and bippies from the tall tree Delta beneath the sourdough Bravo. Regarding our fellow penguinaut Golf Juliet's emergency landing, that was show topic on 416, you discussed the stereotypical CFI pulls power back, a beam numbers, dead stick, power off landing training. One exercise I've done, pulled the power back to idle when I'm 10 miles from an airport. Though there's no startle factor, and though I know I can make the field based on glide ratio and winds, there's still the value of managing altitude and airspeed and getting the plane on the runway and stopped. It was a great exercise for boosting confidence. I know I've done it. I've landed a plane dead stick from somewhere other than the traffic pattern or overhead the field. Next flight review or other recurrent training, perhaps others will want to give it a try. And thanks for a great podcast, Alpha Mike. Cool. That's a good one. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more real world, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to happen on the downwind and beam the numbers.
Right.
Yeah. We've talked about that a little bit. That's really not meant to simulate an engine failure at that only point in space. It's meant to get your mastery of the airplane and understand the rules of the wind and judging your base turn and how you're going to get the airplane configured and down without losing too much energy. But you're right. It makes a very good exercise when done. I'm sure you're doing this safely. And with you got to put up some guardrails. If it's not going to work, don't be afraid to add power. And
just put power back in.
Put power back in. But it is, I can imagine it's confidence building to know that you can do that from another place near the airport. So
10 miles sounds like it might as well be Mars to me. When I think about 10 miles of no engine, I typically think of the helicopter. And unless you are at like 60,000 feet, you're just not going to make it.
Right. AG's first look when they lose both engines on the Chinook was straight down through the bubble.
Through your feet.
That's where we're going. We're not. Why do you keep looking out straight ahead? There's no way we can go there.
No. Look between your feet. Do you see the window that your feet are making? That is where you're going. Yeah.
That's funny. Number 2 from Supercaster Sierra Papa, responding to the ATC audio of emergency last week. OB, why does ATC ask highly stressed pilot in an emergency aircraft to copy down a number rather than asking for the pilot's number so ATC can call a few minutes after the target drops from radar? Great question.
Huh. That is a good question. I guess it would be easier for the pilot to recite his own number.
It would be. It would take no brain RAM, right?
Right.
Just be able to spit it out. I guess.
Right, and you don't have to write it down.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep reading. When listening to the recent engine trouble emergency on 417, the pilot seemed to have the radios and helmet fire under control, so the task of copying down a number wasn't unreasonable. But in some other case, wouldn't it be better if ATC asked for a pilot's cell phone? I can rattle off my own number with minimal attention. The guy safely sitting on the ground at a desk can find a pen, paper, and spare mental capacity to copy down. You don't know. That's a stretch for some of these desk dwellers. To copy down a strange 10-digit number easier than I can. I suppose for privacy reasons, I don't want my number out there on live ATC, but all the extended car warranty people already have it anyway. Sierra Papa waiting here at Billy Joel's Class Charlie, where they're closing all the factories down. It's a good point. I think it's probably, the controller and the pilot both did a really good job in that emergency. It ended well. I think the controller kind of falls into a rhythm of sorts, and they don't know what to do next. It's like, I really want to talk to them. I'm like, and they're not thinking through this, that it might be a little bit too much. And if it was, they'd say, no, I can't copy a number down, which you could have said as a pilot too. No, I'm not worried about that now.
Not doing that.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out when I land.
Exactly.
Right.
But good point, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that part about putting your phone number out on the frequency is probably why the FAA is not going to ever make that a thing that happens in any sort of official capacity.
Yeah. I just feel like as a society, we've moved past that being such a private number. Like, I don't care. You can have my number. I'm not picking up if I don't know who it is, but...
Well, true.
I don't care. You can have it.
I mean, it used to be in the phone book.
Right. And that was delivered to your home.
Yeah, everybody's number.
Is it yellow
you
book?
could have yours taken out of the phone book, but otherwise it's going to be in there. I don't know. I don't see that happening. I like the idea. I just, it's something different. So that would take like at least 20 years to implement. So
right.
By then we won't even have phone numbers.
True. Just think they'll be in your head.
Yeah, the chip in your head will just call RH. Connect me to RH.
All right, fancy jet music. Moving on. All right, this week's show topic. I'm reading it just like the attorneys told us we must read it. Ice can kill you. Don't fly in icing conditions.
Good. That's good.
You want to read this one?
Sure. This is from Penguin Delta Zulu. What's up, RH&AG? Emperor Captain Delta Zulu here. It's hard to imagine the last time I wrote in, I was only in SCAC. Now, hang on a minute. I mean, that is a high and lofty position.
It is.
It really is. So it's not only. Anyway, it's been forever because I felt after listening to 416 of your shows, I knew all there was to know about the NAS. And even though I deserved to be an honorary controller, but I was wrong. On this cold December morning in the pizza capital Delta, I realized there was a gap in my knowledge. Even worse, I don't think this penguin was ever on my iceberg. All right. We're going to get to that. But first I want to know what the pizza capital is. What is that?
We're probably starting some war between cities and we're unaware of it.
And it's a delta.
Pizza Capital Delta. I think I'm going to get in trouble for... I'm just going to throw out my first... It's somewhere in Connecticut.
You think so?
I think it's somewhere in Connecticut.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay.
The chat, we can't see you. Figure it out. We don't know where this is. Please tell us when we go into the chat later on.
Okay, the question is pretty simple. How should a private instrument-rated pilot deal with IFR in a 172 in a Cessna on these cold winter days? I like filing for longer flights in general, and in the winter, I only do it on solid VMC days. If there's a tiny cloud or two at my altitude and it's below freezing, it's fairly simple to ask for a turnaround. But then there's another cloud and another and another, and then a layer between 5 and 7, and I really need a descent to stay out of it. At what point does a controller say to himself, enough is enough? This guy should have just been VFR.
We're going to get to that.
Okay. Do these GA winter IFR cross countries get annoying for controllers, or should I continue to file but really make sure I know I can stay above the MVA and out of those icy clouds for my entire flight? All controllers realize that ice is fatal to small planes, and even when we're IFR, for the most part, we can't go in clouds in the winter, right? Do most controllers know that? I think we'll probably get to that too. Mm-hmm. Once I have the answer to this, I'm certain my ATC knowledge will finally be complete until I see the next aloof penguin in the distance slowly swimming towards my iceberg. Still loving OB after all these years. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Delta Zulu.
All right, scroll down to the next page. Just my brain in blue here. I just put out some points. We're going to try to touch on these.
Okay.
And then answer his questions. So,
okay.
Why don't you briefly explain icing conditions to someone who has no idea what we're talking about in general terms?
Okay, so, yeah. The conditions that might lead to ice either in the clouds or accumulating on the plane. I guess you could make that differentiation. Oh, yeah, you do. Mm-hmm. So visible, what you're going to need is visible moisture. So you're talking some sort of cloud in the up in the air, and temperatures near or below freezing. It doesn't have to be freezing.
Correct.
In fact, typically the worst icing that I've experienced is just a little above, a little above freezing. And I guess the moisture in in that cloud is like super cooled liquid, I think is what's happening. Yeah.
And enter stage right, an airplane with a metal surface that could be colder than that air.
Right.
And we have the perfect conditions for adhering to said airplane
Yes.
and wreaking havoc on the aerodynamics of the plane.
Absolute havoc.
So in general aviation airplanes, there are some, we're going to briefly talk about some. There are some anti-ice and some de-icing out there, but for the most part, most general aviation airplanes cannot fly in icing conditions.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the difference? You said de-ice and anti-ice.
Okay. Anti-ice is more, think of it as something that prevents ice from even forming on the aircraft. A heated surface, a heated wing leading edge, a heated propeller, a heated windscreen. I don't know if you had any of those. Pitot heat is one of them. That's certainly not meant to go into icing conditions, but something that can get hot, typically off of bleed air from a turbine engine or from some sort of, I don't even know how they work on airplanes that don't have a turbine to generate that extra pneumatics of some sort, but you need heat. You need a source of heat.
Ours were electric.
Electric, okay.
Yeah.
That would be anti-ice. De-ice, there are systems, and it sounds counterintuitive, but the system works by accumulating some level of ice, boots on the leading edge of wings, on some older turboprop airplanes, and there are some airplanes that still have boots. They collect a certain amount of ice, and before you can break it off, you have to let it accumulate a little bit, and then you send a bunch of pressurized air into this boot, and it expands. And when you expand the surface, it sheds all that ice.
Yes.
and the aircraft is certified to do that. So anti-ice, de-ice. When you're on the ground and you're in an airline in the wintertime and it's snowing, they usually spray something to get the snow off of the plane. That's usually pink. It's hot. It's a de-icing fluid. It's gross when you do a walk around. It's dripping off the plane for the rest of the day. The green stuff is anti-ice. It has a certain amount of time it can adhere to the airplane. It's designed to shed during the takeoff roll, where now the airplane can use its own anti-ice heated surfaces in the air. But during the process of getting away from de-icing at the pad to the runway, it prevents additional snow and ice from accumulating on the airplane. It's anti-ice, the green stuff. It looks terrible.
Right.
All right. The attorney said we have to say some of this stuff. We just have to say it. There's a regulatory piece of this that needs to be understood. No approval for icing conditions from your general aviation airplanes means no intentional flight into known icing. It's not a judgment call. It's not experience. You don't get good at getting into ice in an airplane that can't go into it. You just don't go there. Encountering ice and continuing is not legal. You have to turn around. You have to get out of it. You cannot continue in it because it doesn't seem like it's doing anything wrong. Your pilot operating handbook has limitations that specifically prohibit flying in known icing conditions or accumulating ice, and that would be just like any other limitation in your airplane. So flying in icing conditions, despite it not actually building up at the time, is still violating your POH and your limitations. Don't do it.
Right. So as far as the ways that ice affects the wing, and it not really taking very much at all, one of the things we always talked about was frost. Mm-hmm. And it could be very thin layer of frost. Mm-hmm. And and aerodynamically, the shape of the wing really hasn't changed a whole lot. But the way that the air adheres to or doesn't adhere to the wing is impacted greatly. And there have been numerous accidents where they're on the takeoff roll. There's a light layer of frost on the wing, and that's all it took. The plane would not fly. It is not flying. Mm-hmm. You do not want to be in that situation while you are flying. It's bad. It's very bad.
Have you had any encounters where you should not have been where you are?
Yes.
Okay. How did it feel on your... Because a helicopter, you're actively flying. It's like the Forerunner. You have to do things all the time. What impact did it have on the way that felt? Did you notice it right away, or did it take a minute? Okay.
No, we didn't notice it. What really brought it to our attention was we had altitude hold on, which in the D model was barometric altitude hold, and pitch attitude hold. Okay, so basically, once you have set a pitch attitude, it's going to keep that based on an airspeed. All right, so if you set the pitch attitude and it's at 120 knots, it's going to stay at 120 knots.
Okay.
Well, what started happening was the pitot heat for the pilot side, which is the side that utilizes the airspeed. It uses the pilot side airspeed as its pitch attitude hold.
Okay.
That pitot tube starts to ice over. It can't keep up. Mm-hmm. Even when it's on, and it will melt the covers, the plastic covers that you put over that. If you leave it on the ground, it will melt them.
It will also melt your skin if you turn it on and
it will melt your skin. It will catch things on fire. It's extremely hot.
Yet it's still accumulating ice.
So it starts to freeze over. The aircraft is losing airspeed and says, hey, we need to speed up. And it's slowly, very slowly increasing pitch. And it crept in until, and I wasn't looking at the airspeed. I'm not flying. I'm not the flying pilot. I'm over there in the left seat looking at the inside of a cloud, I guess. I don't remember really. But it wasn't at the airspeed. And all of a sudden we're shaking. The whole aircraft is shaking. And I'm like, what is going on? And I start looking at instruments, engine, everything is looking normal. But I look, and my airspeed is at like 150 something. And the airspeed on the other side is like at 70. And I'm going, whoa, what is happening? So I said, turn off altitude hold, take the controls, fly. Because based on how we were shaking around, I felt like my airspeed was correct. I said, we got to start slowing down. I got up in my seat, raised myself up so I could see the pitot tube, and it just looked like a football of ice on the end of the tube. And then that, prompts me to look at the other places that it accumulates, and that's up towards the root edge of the blades, close to the hub, and on the forward pylon. Those are about the only things we can see from the cockpit on the plane where ice would accumulate. I mean, you have to kind of lean forward in your seat and look up and back.
It's the same with our plane now. There's places in the nose of the airplane that I fly that it's weird. It's the nose of the airplane. You would think it would be subject to aerodynamics, but there are dead spots of air that ice could accumulate there, and you don't see it blowing around or anything. You could see it. The windshield wipers is a great spot to look.
Yeah. Yes.
And you could see it adhere to that. But you're right. You have to kind of put yourself in an unusual situation, seat-wise, to see those places.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was covered up. It was bad.
Okay. And then what? Now what's your mission? Get out of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Get out of it.
Okay.
We need lower.
Okay.
Because the tops were way above where we were going to go.
We're not getting out of this cloud.
Yeah.
We need to get out. Okay.
Now, in fairness to us, I had filed an altitude that would have kept us out of the clouds. But they wouldn't allow that to happen. So they climbed us into the clouds. We start icing up. I said, we need lower. No, we can't. We can't do lower. I said, we are leaving 6 or whatever we were at, 8. I said, we are leaving 8 for 6 right now. Okay. Got to 6. It wasn't better. We're leaving. I need lower. Oh, I definitely can't get you 5 or 4. We're declaring an emergency.
Boom.
I have to get out of this.
Right. We're going to go down. We're either going to be under control or not under control.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing you worry about in a helicopter is asymmetric ice shedding, where you're accumulating ice on the blades, and then one of the blades sheds all the ice, and you're wildly out of balance.
Right. You thought you were shaking before?
Yeah.
All right. So let me review a couple more of these things and we'll answer his questions. Even professionally, for aircraft that are certified to go into it, it's not treated as something you want to continue in. You can be in it and you can get out of it safely because of the aircraft systems. But it's still something that even professional pilots with airplanes certified into icing conditions, they don't spend a lot of time there. The mission is to get out of those conditions as soon as possible. There are stats out there that sort of give the unfair picture that icing isn't that dangerous because you don't see a lot of icing accidents. There are some, but not enough where some pilots may think, why are we so worried about this? The low numbers do not mean that it's safe. It just means that most pilots, like you said in your feedback, are avoiding it. They're not going in those conditions. And it should be taught very early on in your flight training to stay out of those conditions. And you're not a test pilot. Please don't show us how cool you are. Don't do it.
Even on, I mean, like Arch is saying, even on planes that are meant to take this a certain level of icing, what happens if a system fails? What happens if the boots on your King Air on the tail that you can't see don't inflate?
Bad.
Now you're in a bad way.
All right, let's get to his questions and talk about it from a practical standpoint. So winter general aviation flying, it is super frustrating. I get it. I've been in that situation before. I did a lot of my flight training and instructing up in the Northeast where it snowed and there were some nasty streaks, like 4 or 5 days where you just weren't doing anything. And longer cross countries, just based on the fact the airplane has no way to get through this safely. There's no anti-ice or de-ice on this Skyhawk. There's a pitot tube. That is not enough. So a longer flight is really unplannable, and that's nothing against you. It's just the facts of life when it comes to IFR flying in an aircraft that's hovering around 100 knots and has about 10,000 feet of altitude to work with. Your options are very limited on how to get around that, but maybe today we'll give you some ideas. So I have a couple. I know you said you wanted to do multi or longer flights. This is when you should really get into, testing your ability to plan ahead for weather. I'm not going flying on Friday, but it's Monday. I'm going to start looking and see how good I get at predicting the weather with the information that I have. Okay, it's Monday. This is what I think based on what I see. This is what all the tools say in ForeFlight, all the weather tools. On Tuesday, I'm going to make another. On Wednesday, I'm going to make another guess. I want to see how close I was as I get closer. Now it's Friday. Where are those freezing levels? Where did the weather say that it would be compared to what I thought? How close am I to what I thought was going to be a doable flight? Spend the time in the winter getting really good at that. Okay? If a multi-day stretch is truly VMC and ice-free, go fly. But you got to be rewarded for your flexibility here. That may not happen, and you may not be able to go. But you want to talk about staying current and making the flights have some purpose?
Yeah. On that previous point, I would say don't get yourself into a situation where you're stuck somewhere and you have get home-itis, like, oh, I really need to get home. Mm-hmm. And now you've painted yourself in a corner where to get home, you're going to fly in questionable conditions.
Or have to scud run to stay out of them. So.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so you can stay current by making your flights purposeful. Instead of...
Keep going.
Yeah, instead of doing local touch and goes in the pattern, file IFR and fly to a nearby airport. Have lunch. Shoot an approach. Maybe not in that order. Maybe shoot the approach first and then have lunch. Or have lunch in the plane. Pack a sandwich and then shoot an approach. But shoot an approach. And then file back and shoot another. File 2 flight plans. Go through the process of canceling. Maybe it's a non-towered, maybe it's not. But go through the steps of, the iteration of doing an entire IFR flight and then doing another one. And guess what? You get 2 in a day. And maybe you made a good sandwich and it was good. Or maybe you found a good place for lunch. I don't know. Maybe because you went on a cross country, you need to pack your own sandwich. I don't know. Put file 2 flight plans and shoot a couple of approaches. You're getting some currency plus some real world decision making. And if the weather isn't good, don't go. Don't get yourself in a position where you feel like you have to go. I think that's one of the key takeaways for me in bad weather. Don't set yourself up for making a bad decision.
Sorry, I had to do a little technical glitch there. Fixed it. We're good.
Okay.
You mentioned in your feedback minimum vectoring altitude awareness. That's great. If you're unsure of what it is in the area you're in, whatever phone number is available for a non-towered airport for your clearance, you can call them and ask them, hey, I'm trying to figure out if I can do this flight. In general, at Triad, it's 2,500 feet, with the exception of a few antenna areas. So, hey, can I be at 3,000 feet or 4,000 feet and still be below this cloud layer? That's an important piece of that planning that I think some people may forget. Another thing we could talk about is scatter clouds versus broken and overcast. Those are important distinctions. That should be part of your looking ahead, maybe a couple days out. What does the TAF say, which is out about a day and a half beforehand for a period of time? How accurate is that? Let's look at it. Let's see if there's places where yeah, I can't fly into this cloud, but I can go around it. I can get through this scattered layer. I probably wouldn't try to get through a broken layer. Definitely not an overcast low layer, but scattered at certain altitudes might not be the be-all, end-all. You can probably get through or around those clouds and be okay. Why don't you solve this problem, which we have seen on the controller side? Pilots leave airport A. It's VMC, visual conditions, boop, and their airport, they think, oh, it's great. It's, 6,000 foot ceilings. They filed at 8. Walk us through that.
Oh, like they get on top. They get on top. Mm-hmm. They found a giant hole to climb through.
Mm-hmm. Which could have been, they could have been clearing $1 million at airport A.
Right.
Okay.
So they're on top of a layer. They've now flown over this layer for 200 miles. Mm-hmm. And now what?
It's time to descend.
Right.
Now what do we do?
Yeah. Takeoffs are optional, and you are going to land at some point. You are going to have to descend through a layer.
Well, how can they avoid that? What can they do in their planning stages to get around that problem?
En route, weather, often overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
If you check in departure and destination, that's more common, but you really need to evaluate en route. What is the weather halfway, on my flight, and then at your destination, do some sort of evaluation on what are the cloud layers and what is my en route altitude, and when, where am I going to be in relation to the clouds when I get there? Mm-hmm. Do I need to, at some point, based on en route halfway, do I need to descend and get under this layer, right, before I get there?
Mm-hmm. We take that for granted. Me and you are like, well, that makes sense. That's a stretch for a lot of guys to think about, or pilots to think that way. It might not come across as something they would think about. I hope that's new to you. I hope we're teaching you something.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that scenario was fairly rare for us.
Okay.
It was fairly rare.
Well, because you're not, how far are you going?
Yeah, and we didn't fly. If it was any kind of questionable icing, we're just, no, do something else. Stay in the pattern. We're not going. In the King Air, it just didn't really matter. Mm-hmm. If you need to descend through a layer, when you get there, you go through a layer. So we didn't have to get into this too much, other than we did evaluate along the route. If it's widespread 200-foot ceilings, it's going to be 200-foot ceilings along our whole route. Mm-hmm. We need to really look at alternates. What if something happens part way? Mm-hmm. Are there airports along here with ILSs? Like what, how are we getting out of this if there's something bad? So,
all right, let's talk about the controller perspective. So it seems to be, you're a good user of the NAS. You don't want to be a pain. You don't want to be the one who's asking for constant turns around these clouds. What do you think the controllers are thinking in that case when, they've asked for their third or fourth turn around clouds? What do you think?
We have talked about this before, but controllers are thinking, why is all of this a surprise to you? This weather has been like this all day. Mm-hmm. You took off, from somewhere 200 miles ago and clearly did no planning at all. And now you're putting it on the controller to basically do your last minute weather planning. On one of the last days I worked before this break, we had icing low, and I had a couple aircraft at the same time, both on frequency at the same time, trying to get back into triad that came over at 8,000 feet and we need lower, we need lower, we need lower. And now they are 40 miles from the airport at the NVA, I barely can hear them. We need a turn. We need a turn. We need lower. We need lower. I can't get, you're there. I can't get you lower. And ended up having to vector them and make their flight probably 40 miles longer than it should have been, vectoring them all over creation to stay out of icing. This was not a surprise. This weather has been like this all day long. That is what we are there for. We will do it, but you are placing a burden on the system that is taking resources away from other aircraft.
Were they up front and telling you they were encountering ice, or was it just they couldn't fly?
Yes.
They were VFR and couldn't go in clouds. Okay.
Yep, we're starting to accumulate ice. We need lower.
Did you have any other?
These were IFR planes.
Okay. Did you have any other airplanes near their altitude, or any pirate-able planes that you could get reports from about temperature and conditions?
Yes, and we were definitely doing that. But a lot of the other planes on that day were not small GA planes. Those aircraft were not out flying.
Right. Okay. So they're the anomaly.
Yes,
on
and
that
then
day.
they became a problem. Yeah.
You asked about the controllers knowing the aircraft's limitations. I want to make sure that I say this. I don't want to forget to say this.
Oh, yeah. This is very important.
If you are encountering icing in an airplane that you know is you've broken a rule and you're in a bad spot, please don't keep that a secret. The controller, I hope this is what you thought I was going to say. If not, please add it. The controller is not there to be the police on the limitations of your airplane. If you're in trouble and you find yourself accumulating ice in a plane that has no way to fight it, and you need help getting out, you better speak up. And it's an emergency. AG just talked about his. This is an emergency. You can say that. You're going to get help. They might not have all the right answers. It could take a while to get you out of this. But don't keep it a secret because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble for violating the rule. Just come clean.
Yes.
It happened.
Yeah. And don't think that you dropping a hint like, hey, we're getting some trace, or, we're getting a little bit of accumulation here of light rime. The controller might just say, okay, and write down, fill out a pirate form and hand it to the soup.
Right.
That might be the end of it. They don't know. They don't know. A lot of controllers will know that a Skyhawk isn't supposed to be an icing. But if you don't ask for or say something like, hey, we need out of this, you might not get volunteer work from the controller to recognize that.
Yeah, you're pretty much going to have to come out and say what you need.
There are plenty of new controllers that have not set foot in a plane, in a small plane. They don't know any of those, especially plane-specific stuff.
It's briefly touched on sometimes in recurrent training, annual training, but it's something that they click through very quickly. It's just get this done before you go back on position. I've said that before. It was something I was adamant that they didn't spend enough time on explaining these things.
Right.
I'm not giving anybody an excuse, but the controllers in general don't know that you're telling them, this is bad. I need help. I don't know what's going to happen next. Just come out and say it. This is an emergency. We're encountering ice. I need lower, or I need a PIREP, maybe higher, warmer temperatures. The other day when I landed at base, it was plus 18 at 5,000 feet and 0 on the ground. That's the wrong way.
Right.
As a temperature inversion.
Right.
You talk about it in instrument training. That is possible in the wintertime. It could be warmer, higher.
Yep.
Your airplane may be full of ice and you won't be able to climb, but just know that that's a possibility. But speak up. Please don't keep a secret because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble for breaking a rule. The controllers don't know until you tell them, I have a problem.
And there are GA planes that have some icing capability that might lead controllers to believe, oh, this one has it. Why wouldn't another one have it?
So let's talk about that real quick. I just want to mention one We have a lot of Cirrus owners and pilots listening. Some Cirruses are equipped with flight into known icing conditions. They have a weeping wing. They can, I don't know what the verb is here. The wing can emit
Yes.
a green fluid that's anti-ice. It's making them able to get out of icing conditions. They don't look at it as let's hang out here for the whole day.
Right.
Hey, we've encountered ice. Cool. Make sure our anti-ice is on. And how do we get out of this? I wanted to put that out there. They're not looking at it as like a free pass to go flying in icing conditions.
Right. Right.
It's a survival tool.
Right. Yeah. Just know that controllers might not understand the specific differences between different Cirrus planes, a Cirrus and a Bonanza, a Skyhawk, a Cherokee, whatever it is. They're not necessarily going to know.
If we skipped over this, if you are accumulating ice and you can somehow find warmer temperatures, which oftentimes are lower, the ice does tend to come off pretty quickly in general.
Yes.
That's what they're looking for. It's a place to get to warmer temperatures where the ice will fall off the plane.
Yeah, please don't be like we were on the ramp at the FBO and chunks of ice are falling off of the plane. And the ramp people are staring at us with mouths agape, going, "What are you guys doing?" Yeah, don't be that. Don't do that.
All right, what are the big picture takeaways on this one? Your thinking is right. You don't want to be a pain. You want to do the right thing, but you also want to get some flying in the wintertime. That may take a little more planning. You maybe have to be a little more flexible on going on your longer flights. I think staying local is a safer approach. You can still get a lot out of a local flight. Heck, you could stay at one airport and do approaches there. I know the weather here. I could see outside. I don't have to worry about it. So, I didn't accomplish anything because I didn't go to an airport B, but you kept active in the airplane. Be flexible. Stay conservative. The lawyers want us to say it one more time. General aviation airplanes that are not equipped with the systems needed to be certified for flight into known icing conditions do not go into icing conditions.
Right.
And one last thing, filing IFR does not obligate you to continue. If you did think you were being annoying and hey, you know what? I can do VFR. Why don't I just do that? Okay, then do it. The controller's probably going to be a lot happier.
Right. Yes. Just don't squeeze yourself into, don't let mountains, this happens to us this time of year. Let's say 6,000 foot layer. They're going northwestbound at 4. And hey, the MBA is higher. You're going to have to climb. Well, we can't climb. Okay. What do you want to do? Well, we'll cancel. We'll stay. We'll go VFR. And now they're getting pinched between clouds and mountains. Bad. Just be willing to say, nope, we're turning around.
Turn around, landing. Hey, I gotta rethink this.
Yeah.
Somewhere I messed up in my planning. I wanna go back. I want to stop. It's better to say that VMC than accumulating ice in a cloud that you weren't expecting.
Over the mountains.
Over mountains, right.
Bad. Very bad.
What else? Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think we touched all of that. Let me scroll back up here. Oh yeah, I like this. Survival is not validation. Just because you did it once, we were in icing and here I am living to tell the tale. Guess what I never did in the Chinook ever again? Got into icing. Ever. No, thank you. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
I love that. I think it's a great way to end this one.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Delta Zulu, for the great feedback and for supporting the show.
Yes.
All right. Moving on. I hit the wrong button. Feedback time. Do you want the first one? There's two of these. Oh, you got to put pictures up. I'll do the first one. You have to put pictures up. Pictures. Now, there's two pictures. I'm bragging about the first one. The first one is today's Charlie.
Okay.
The second one is the proposed Bravo. It'll make sense in a minute. So,
okay.
I don't know how you're going to get those on the screen at the same time. Good luck. From Supercaster, Delta Charlie. Charlie, hey, H-E-N-R-H. I thought you'd find this interesting. I got the invitation below, and the proposed change to the, what are we calling this? Super Bachelorette Charlie airspace that's attached. I know these things that don't happen often, and I'm happy to keep you updated on what I hear if you like. I understand that the SIDS and stars recently got updated as well. Delta Charlie. All right, let me read this invitation. I think you'll find this interesting.
All right.
There's a line in here in the notes that I forgot to move up. Disregard that. In accordance with, this is part of the invitation, to go to this hearing about a proposal to change airspace, which you're right, Delta Charlie, this does not happen often enough. We're very slow in regulating airspace, making changes on it. And this is what that invitation sounds like to come talk about it. In accordance with FAA Order 7400.2R, an ad hoc committee is being formed to provide aviation users and stakeholders the opportunity to offer input to the FAA regarding the proposed Class Bravo airspace. During the meeting, FAA representatives will provide a review of the FAA requirements for modifying the airspace, an overview of the policy regarding the establishment and purpose of the ad hoc committee, and a briefing on the proposed Super Bachelorette Charlie airspace modification and the need for change. After the initial briefing, the FAA's role will be limited to that of a technical advisor or subject matter expert. The FAA will not be a voting member and is not responsible for the committee operations or the recommendation development. It is anticipated that the committee will elect a chairperson during this first meeting to guide the committee's work, and upon completion, the chairperson will prepare a written report summarizing the committee's efforts and documenting recommendations for FAA consideration. So the Charlie that you're looking at right now is unique on the screen. Instead of it being a 10-mile ring from the center out, the second ring is 10 miles. You like that little ruler I put up there?
I did appreciate that, because I was looking at this going, well, what am...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't seem a ton different, except then when I did finally see that outer ring is 10 miles, that's huge. So it's like 15 miles.
Right, it's a 15-mile Charlie, which is a little bit different. Already, bravo for everybody that made that change and allowed this to even happen. You've already gone leaps and bounds in the airspace redesign. I love it. Mm-hmm. Now, the next picture is the proposed Bravo, and I think there's there's a 30-mile ring, gives you a little bit of reference on space, but what we're looking at is more of an Atlanta-type Bravo, where it's rectangular on the some of the ways they divide up what is lower, the finals, and downwinds, the airspace that AG and I complain about not being protected in the Charlie all the time. The downwinds are protected. The main runway looks like the Bravo goes out all the way to 30 miles out-ish, 25-ish, right around there, that block, from 3,000 feet to 10,000, which is pretty far out for a final, but that's where airplanes are. If they're lining up, 10 airplanes on final. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's where airplanes are. And and you could see where a typical Charlie would end like right in here.
Yep. And what you're pointing to on the screen is about 10 miles away from the airport.
Yep.
And for a busy airport that's running parallel finals that stretch 15, 20 miles, the current Charlie is not going to help the controllers at all. There's going to be a lot of unnecessary traffic near airplanes that need to be separated.
Yep.
Did I summarize that right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, even at our airport where it's not this even close to this busy, we're encountering that on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Aircraft hanging out at 10 or at 11, 12 miles.
Yeah.
On final at 3,000. You're legal and in a terrible place.
Right. Now, this will preclude a lot of that from happening. It should allow a ton of flexibility for general aviation. I'm assuming there's a couple other airports in there. There's one to the west that we can't see there. That 2400 is a Delta underneath one of the shelves out there. Yeah, you could see it in that one.
Yeah, John Toon.
Yep. So there's a lot to consider in this. There's terrain that's a consideration. Another quite busy satellite airport that's very close to the main, what will be a Bravo Airspace airport. Somebody put a lot of thought into this, and that's the part if they're doing a committee to talk about it and make tweaks and hear from both sides, there's going to be, let's just make it, for argument's sake, two sides of the argument. The general aviation side may not like this. This is going to be harder to transit this airspace. I'm going to need a clearance to get in. The controller, FAA side, is like, no, hey, look, we're not putting up these hard fences. These make sense. We're only putting Bravo in a place where we're going to have planes, where we don't want non-cleared airplanes to be. Mm-hmm. And there's probably going to be a lot of back and forth on this. Like, how do we get to this airport? Can we move this in? The GA side is going to want to make that Bravo as small as possible. The other side of the argument is going to want to, if I didn't have to ask anybody and I was in charge of the world, it would be Bravo from the surface to 10,000 for 30 miles out. Everybody would win. On the controller side, the pilots would not like that.
They'd be egging your house.
Yes, they would. But I'm talking about it from a pilot perspective. I don't want other airplanes that they aren't talking to or controlling near me. And there's a mix.
Right, from a user of this airport perspective. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm just trying to explain the two sides of the argument. In the United States, if you're listening from another country, in the United States, it is very easy, comparatively speaking, for general aviation to navigate and fly around our airspace. They do it all over with very few constraints. Yes, that's a Bravo and you need a clearance, but even that is better than some of the European solutions. They generally frown upon GA and make it nearly impossible for them to fly.
Right.
What did you think of the invitation to come talk about this? Did you like it? the FAA's invitation. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be fantastic to have, we don't need airspace this big, but some sort of redesign to encompass a little better. Mm-hmm. I would be totally willing to make the Charlie skinnier and longer.
Agreed. To protect our finals.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't need it up to 10. I don't even really need the downwinds protected. I can deal with that. Mm-hmm. But give me 15 miles to 3,000 and extend the shelf out.
Along your finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like a rectangular. I like it.
Yep.
Well, very good. Delta Charlie, thank you for sharing this with us. It is very interesting. I think so far the design looks really good. That's going to cause a lot of good conversation. Keep us posted. And for all the other airports listening, controllers especially, if you're in a place that has changed, i.e. post-COVID, you've got 10 times the traffic and your current airspace is not working.
Right.
You need to raise your hand and say, look what they're doing over here at this airport. This can be done.
Right.
We just need to. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to get a Bravo, but they already took one step into redesign the Charlie. Now they're saying that's not enough. We need the protection of Bravo, and they might get it. That could happen.
Right.
Anything to add on that one?
No.
All right, number 2 is audio from Supercaster Hotel Tango Bravo. I said their initials wrong last week, and I apologize. This is fun holiday audio. I'm ready to hit play when you are.
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Crash up at 4355. They said it'll be about 5 minutes.
15?
No, just 5 minutes for Southwest 4335.
What is your gate?
Yes, gate 1515.
Well, that's my eyes are completely wrong. I'm showing it completely open. Do they mean it's going to be a while for the ground crew?
I don't know. Maybe they got it wrong. I'll reach out to them. But yeah, they said they had to push it, but pull the numbers, so I'll double check.
It's 4335. Hold for the Delta 10 then. I'm looking at 15. It looks completely open. Maybe they just got some stuff in the way.
I'll double check. Crash out to 4335. They said it's now magically open. for gate 15.
All right, then let's magically taxi you in Southwest 4335, taxi via Echo Delta 7.
Echo Delta 7, thanks.
Magical gates.
I love magically taxiing people. It's one of my favorite things on ground.
So at Triad, you don't run into this because we have no control over the ramp. But
No
this is
control.
zero. And you don't even know. I mean, you could go probably find a map of them, but the numbers, you'd have to use the binoculars to see what numbers, right? And you'd only see one side.
Yeah, after 14 years, I'm starting to get at the hang of, the even 40s are on this side and the odd 40s. The problem with the gate numbering is that they don't make any sense. If you just did 1, 2, 3, 4, and you started at one side and it went, but the far terminal is 20s. And where it gets weird is on the ends as they wrap around, and you have these end ones that are odd, but you feel like they should be even. Yeah, what the planes will come off the runway. Yeah, we're going to gate 27. Like, yeah, I have no idea where that is. Just
Don't know, don't care.
taxi the ramp.
Go to that ramp part and bye-bye. Anyway, some airports know. My base, I feel like they know where we're going. They're very aware of the direction we had to go. Now, we're in a weird situation there. We don't have two-way in and out ramp. It's outgoing traffic blocks inbounds all the time. And they seem to have a grasp of it. I don't know if it's in a scratch pad. I don't know if they have a list up in the tower, but they know where we're going, which I think is weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. Thank you, Hotel Tango Bravo. You get number 3.
Number 3 from Supercaster Kilo Victor. Hi, RHNAG, longtime listener, first-time writer, and recent Supercaster Kilo Victor here. With some timely-ish feedback on OB414, your chuckling at calling the field in sight in the downwind at a Bravo reminded me of a story I heard. I'm friends with a flock of airline pilots, and because of their varying seniority and appetite for punishment at the bottom of seniority lists, some are captains and others FOs, so once in a while, they manage to get trips together. In this instance, 2 friends were in the downwind at 6,000 feet, landing at the Beantown Bravo when the controller came in with fast jet 123, the field 3 o'clock and 6 miles. It was midday and clear and a million, so they responded with insight? ? The controller then said, fast jet 123, I have no traffic on final, cleared visual approach, runway 4 right, keep it tight to the airport. My friends pride themselves on their hand flying skills, and this was now an opportunity to show off. In the non-pilot flying's telling, what followed next was a case study in energy management. Autopilot off, throttle to flight idle, full spoilers, and a descending decelerating 180 as the plane was configured to land, ending with the thrust spooling right back up at 1,000 feet on speed on glide slope. The passengers were none the wiser, having no idea that they've just been saved from the typical 70-mile tour of the southern Bay State. All the best, Kilo Victor. That's fantastic.
I love it.
I have been using this a little bit more recently in asking the pilots if they want to be number 1 in slam dunked, or they can extend out to be number whatever.
How do you explain the geographic limitations of their slam dunk?
You got to be inside the final approach fix.
Okay.
Or I'll say, could you turn base to join a 3-mile final?
Sporty.
Yeah. Just know your audience. Depends on the plane. Who's willing to do that and who's not. Brown box 767, probably not your best candidate for slam dunk on a 3-mile final.
You are going to be met with a lot of confusion and skepticism.
Yes. No, we do not want that. Instant loss of confidence in your abilities.
No.
Yeah. But it has worked out really well in general. So And most take it. Most want the
Okay.
slam dunk.
Okay. I like that. What they're describing in the feedback, 1,000 feet on speed on glide slope are some of the parameters of a stabilized approach. If they're unable to do that, they're technically not stable. There's a few hoops you got to jump through for you to legally check that box off. In the background, there is data collected on that. They can find out if you weren't stable. So a pilot who's not used to hand flying should not take this challenge.
Right.
Because it has to be done right. There's really a very small, narrow window for you to pull this off. And if you do it incorrectly, you're going to have to go around and you wasted all that time anyway. So, good on you.
We do see these result in go-arounds.
Okay. How do they confess? How does that sound? And how late do they wait to tell you that they're...
It's when they're going around. Yeah. We kind of know from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I clear you for the visual. I ship you to the tower. And I'm just watching. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds, thousands of planes make stabilized approaches. And it's not hard to recognize when this one is not. I'm like, they're pretty high. And they're pretty fast still.
And they turned their base. They totally hosed themselves.
They committed. Once you turn, listen, if you're in this situation, you really need to think about where you're turning your base. Because once you turn your base, you are committed. You might be able to buy yourself a mile by widening out, but if you're tight to the downwind, if your downwind, I mean, is tight to final, you don't have a lot of room.
Right.
You're going to have to make some wild turns to make any meaningful difference. Once you turn your base, you're committed. Think about where the base is going to put you. You know what? Just fly out. Give yourself a couple miles outside the final approach fix. Get down to that altitude on the ILS. Vector yourself onto the ILS. Don't try to be Chuck Yeager. All right.
Well, you said though when you give them the parameters of what do you mean? What do I have to do? I want you to keep inside the final approach fix. You can't do that.
Okay, now that's different.
Okay.
You're the only plane.
Okay.
You're on the downwind. You called the field.
Yeah, don't be a hero.
I cleared you and shipped you. Just take it out. Take it out to a 7-8 mile final. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. I don't want to work you again.
Right, because when I said contact the tower, I never wanted to speak with you again.
Ever again.
Excellent. Anything else?
No.
All right, we do our best to respond to supporter feedback and let you know when you'll be on an upcoming show. Everybody that's been listening for the last 8 years or the last 5 or 4 or 3, however long you've been listening, thank you for keeping the show going. All the awesome feedback, keep it coming.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year, AG.
Happy New Year.
Anything else to add?
No.
Closing out episode 418 of Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk. Romeo Hotel.
And Alpha Golf. Goodbye, everyone.
Drop. Opposing Bases is a listener-supported, ad-free weekly podcast. The views expressed on the show do not reflect the opinions or official positions of the FAA or Penguin Airlines. Episodes are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace flight instruction. To get on-time access, bonus content, and full archive access, join the crew at opposingbases.supercast.com.
Yeah, drop.